Good morning and welcome to the Audit Committee meeting for April 3rd, 2025. Nicole, can you please read the roll?
Chair Castaneda.
Here.
Directors Leahy. Hall.
Yes, present.
Scalzetti. Vespi.
Here.
Chair Castaneda, you have a quorum of the committee.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any, doesn't look like we have any additions to the agenda or anything like that? Okay, so we'll dispense with number 2. Number 3, public comment. Any members of the public here to address the committee on items contained in the agenda?
If there are public speakers in the Zoom waiting room, please raise your hand through the Zoom app or press star 9 if you're listening by phone. I see none.
Okay, great, thank you. Chair's report, I have no report. Let's see, we'll move on to item number 5, which is approve the audit committee minutes, and kind of got a message, assuming that everybody's looked at, I wasn't at the last meeting, so I don't know anything about whether or not they're accurate or not, but can I get a message from those on the committee that were here for the October 29th, 24 meeting?
Yeah, I'll move to it.
Okay, you're okay with that?
Yep.
All right.
And I think since Director Vespi is the only one who was here, we're just going to take him as received and filed.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, great. Yeah. Okay, so we can deal with that. Let's see. The item is passed. No consent items. We're on to the action and discussion. We have 4 items under action discussion. Number 1 is Chris Wojcik.
Yes, Director.
Okay, great. Thank you. I just want to make sure. Yeah, I was going to say Wojcik. Yeah, as somebody whose last name is constantly mispronounced, I don't want to. I'm sensitive to that. So you'll kick things off with a discussion about our responsibilities and content of the agenda.
Yes, thank you, Chair Castaneda. Good morning again. Chris Wojcik. I'm the controller here at the San Diego County Water Authority. And I have a split presentation along with our auditors. And okay, next slide, please. So I will be just going over quickly, this is the agenda for my comments, the audit committee's responsibilities. And then a little bit later, I'll be speaking on the single audit, as well as the audit committee's, what we're meeting, the second meeting, the purpose for that meeting, and then the audit work plan calendar. Next slide. Okay, so these are the audit committee's responsibilities. We like to discuss these at the first meeting each year. They are important. They are required for the proper administration of the committee. Its scope is very narrow, and I'll just read through them and speak to them individually. So the first responsibility is recommending selection of the independent auditor or auditing firm, including participation in the selection process. Now, this is not applicable for this year. We're actually in the second year of the current audit contract, so we don't have anything the committee doesn't have any work in this area. Okay, item number 2, oversight of the audit contract and annual audit. Again, we issued a 3-year contract. We're in year 2. The contract goes for 1 more year. There are 2 1-year extension options, which would take us through fiscal year 28. The fee for the audit is $58,800 for the fiscal year 25. And then a single audit fee, which I'll speak on a little bit more later. The fee for that is $4,010.
So I ask a question. Am I correct that when we hire an auditor, we can only do so for a 5-year period, and then we have to sort of go out and find somebody else? Isn't that the rule?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. The profession does not require a change in audit firms. However, it is best practice that you change the lead partner. So you can keep the same firm at the 6-year mark, but you must change the firm partner. And we will be doing that next year. I believe Shannon Ayala is the partner, and next year will be her last year on this engagement, and it will revert to another partner in the firm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, item number 3, in terms of responsibilities, oversight of the supplemental audits or agreed upon procedures, including audits of member agency obligations within the scope of the audit contract as the committee determines are necessary or appropriate. And I can say that in the upcoming budget, the fiscal year 26-27 budget, we do not have anything budgeted in terms of additional work. Okay, next slide. Okay, responsibility number 4, review of the annual audit, including all portions of any associated annual comprehensive financial report or ACFR at one or more public meetings and provision of a report of recommendations to the board based upon the review. And the staff, completes the audit with the auditors. We produce the annual comprehensive financial report. We make that available to the committee to review, and we take comments from the committee and make changes based on anything that's would be requested. That is set for mid-October once the document is completed, and then that would be something that will be discussed at the third meeting. And I will say that we are looking to modify the language in this responsibility because we're also going to look to make available the ACFR to all board members at the same time. So it won't be just to the committee, but to all board members. Right. And that will be officially added to the administrative code the next time we do an update to administrative code sections.
Can you also just share with the audit committee that they meet with the auditor alone?
Certainly, yes. At the second meeting, we bring up we give an update to the committee on how the audit is going, and then the committee has an opportunity to speak with the audit partner in charge individually without management being present, and that would be the chair and usually it's two board directors, but it can be as many as requested, and that will be something that we'll follow up with the chair at the second audit committee meeting.
Did we get, I should probably know this, look through my files, but when we come on board, do we get a copy of the ACFR? The existing document?
Yes, you did.
Is there a possible that I can get?
Certainly.
And it's
Okay.
online.
Is it online? Okay,
It
good.
is online, but no, we do have
Yeah, I'd like to have a paper
hard
one if I
copies. We
could.
would
Yeah,
certainly do
that's-
that.
That's okay.
And
That's this document.
yes,
Yes.
yes, it
You're
is.
good on paper.
Thank you.
I can't read stuff
Being
online.
online's okay for you, Director Vespy? Okay. We'll make sure we get you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So I'd like one point of clarification. You said a couple of times the second meeting, but I thought this was the second meeting.
This is the first audit committee meeting for the fiscal year 25.
Okay.
And
Okay, because up there he's got third meeting.
No, it's usher.
yeah, yes, this
That's
is
in October, though.
yes, in October.
All right.
Yes, and I'll speak to that in a moment, how many meetings we have and if there's a need for additional meetings. And so that's a responsibility number 4. Responsibility number 5 is preparation of an annual report to the board summarizing its activities, actions, and recommendations, which report may be combined with a report of recommendations on the audit itself. And that is completed in late October, and that's at the third audit committee meeting. And essentially, the meeting itself has to conclude, and we take the results from that. We prepare a board memo, and that is circulated amongst the committee members, and they weigh in on that. And that is what is actually issued to the board by the chair at the full board meeting in November.
Okay.
And so there's 3 audit committee meetings that are scheduled for the audit committee, and this is typical of prior years as past. Usually, and per the admin code, as a minimum of 3. If there was to be another meeting required, that would be at the chair's request. But usually, all of the work of the committee is able to be sandwiched within just those 3 committee meetings.
Those are the 3 public meetings. So in addition, the meeting directly with the board members and our auditor is separate from
That is correct. That is separate. That's usually.
That's not a public, not a public meeting.
Thank you. And correct. Usually it's been held telephonically. Pre-COVID, sometimes they were able to meet in person, but and that will be set up with Shannon, and she can even speak to that as part of her presentation.
Great.
And we'll look to set that up at the second audit committee meeting. The second audit committee meeting will be in maybe it's about September is when we'll time that, and then the third one would be in late October. And that concludes my comments on the responsibilities of the committee. Unless there are any questions, I can.
Okay. Any questions? Doesn't look like any. Okay, number 2, required auditor communications.
Shannon, if you can begin your presentation.
Good morning. Thank you, Chris. There we go. Thank you. As Chris mentioned, I'm here to do the required auditor communications for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. Next slide, please. Right now, we are in the planning stage of the audit. If you just wanted to bring all the bullet points up on this one, there's 3. So it involves the audit engagement letter, which includes the scope and timing of the audits, the identification of audit risk, and the development of the audit plan, and then the communication with those in governance. Next slide, please. Okay, so there in the audit engagement letter, which has already been signed by management, there were no changes to the scope of work. Just want to reiterate the purpose of the audit is to express an opinion that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. Next, we are slated to perform our interim field work the week of April 14th. We'll be in the Water Authority offices for the week. And then we have our final field work for 2 weeks starting August 25th. Next slide, please. Our auditor responsibilities, if you want to just, yes, are to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement, obtain an understanding of internal controls, evaluate accounting policies and estimates, and then perform test of compliance with laws and regulations. And then all of that work will result in our opinion. And then management's responsibilities are the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements, to design and implement the internal controls, and to inform us of any known or suspected fraud. And lastly, accuracy and completeness of all information provided. Next slide, please. And then our identification of audit risk, we take into account several items basing our knowledge of the entity. External factors such as political environment or industry alerts. We also use government risk alerts, and then fraud inquiries of staff and those in governance, as well as information from this meeting. Next slide, please. We've preliminarily identified a few risk areas. We'll probably have a couple more as a result of this meeting, but initially, we have GASB 101, which is a new accounting standard for this year related to compensated absences, capital assets, and construction in progress, just due to the sheer significance of those items to the organization. And then lastly, each year we are required to perform a test of unpredictability. And we will decide that once this meeting concludes and based on our planning meeting with management. Next slide. And with that, I am happy to take any questions on the audit process or significant risk areas.
Sir?
Thank you. So you have implementation of GASB 101.
Correct.
Why was that identified?
Anytime there's a new accounting standard required to be implemented during the year, it's a significant risk area just due to the newness of it. I don't anticipate it being a very complicated accounting standard to be implemented, but we do always perform additional procedures over the work that's completed by the Water Authority and ensuring the balances are accurately reported.
Thank you.
Just Director Scalzetti is here and has a question.
Is there any more GASB laws and rules that we're going to be implementing this year, or is just these 2 that you're talking about, the 103 and 101?
It looks like 103 is not actually required to be implemented this year, but it looks like maybe Chris is wanting to early implement it. So we'll discuss more about that in the planning meeting, and I'll listen to his presentation on that today. But there are additional GASBs to be implemented in future years. They keep us busy and are constantly issuing new standards.
Okay. Anything else?
And for the new board members, it stands for Government Accounting Standard Board.
Anything else? I have a question. Unpredictability test, what kind of unpredictability does this encompass?
It can be a variety of items, and we usually decide what that test is after this meeting and also after our planning meeting with staff. It could be anything from looking at additional disbursement transactions, payroll. In the prior year, we looked at contracts, and we've looked at the reserve balances. So it really just has to be something different than our normal audit procedures. And we usually decide on it based on this meeting and discussions with management, just to determine if there are any concerns from this committee or management, and we can always.
So a statement of, an organization of this size, very faceted. So a statement of unpredictability could be quite extensive, potentially, based on what you're saying is comments from this committee and the board itself.
Usually the test that we perform for the audit is not extensive or very time consuming. It is doing something different than we normally do. If the committee or management wanted to delve deeper into a particular area, typically Chris and I would discuss agreed upon procedures.
Okay.
But it is an additional test. It just wouldn't be, it's usually not a deep dive.
Okay.
Into something.
All right. So, I'd be interested to see how that sort of evolves, and then obviously react accordingly with the rest of the committee. But all right. Well, thank you. Anything else?
I would say, Chair Castaneda, thank you on that. For example, the last committee had a request to look into the procurement cards, like were we complying with our procurement card policy testing, and the auditors were able to couch that in with the existing audit. But if there was something more extensive, then that would represent potentially an agreed upon procedures, a little side engagement in covering that.
Well, no, great. That helps, because I'm just trying to understand what the scope of all this is and the latitude that this committee has, and so as we see that sort of evolving, we'll have a better idea to react to it. So thank you. Thank you, Chris. Anybody else? No? Shannon, is it?
Shannon,
Yeah.
Okay.
And Shannon, before you go, if you could comment just briefly on your call, with the audit committee members without staff being present. How is that facilitated? And usually what's the discussion? We have new committee members and they haven't been exposed to that.
Sure. So typically after the audit is completed and before I believe it's the second or third meeting that Chris mentioned, I will reach out to the chair and any members that have been identified as wanting to be on that call. And the past 2 years, we have done that via Zoom. And I basically go over the results of the audit, if there were any internal control recommendations, any areas of difficulty, results of our significant risk items, and really any recommendations that we have. I go over those during that call, and it's sort of a deeper dive and the ability for the committee or the members to ask questions and for us to talk candidly about the audit process and the results.
Thank you for that.
One other point of
Yes,
clarification.
yes.
You said before she goes, she's staying for the rest of the meeting.
I am going to stay for the rest of the presentation.
Yeah, and actually, so have we done 3? No, we have not. Okay, so can we move to 3? Yes. Okay, so that would be the overview of the audit process. And that's Shannon. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I thought we'd have a
Or
presentation.
Nope. Do you need me for?
I think we jumbled it.
We
Yeah, I think, yeah, because the communication is just what you had referred to or asked about. But then also, we have gone through the presentation. So Shannon, is there anything else? So I think we've asked some questions. Okay, Director Paul?
Well, I'm sorry, see, there's another agenda here that says audit committee responsibilities, single audit committee, second.
Yeah, that's on the presentation.
So that doesn't match with this agenda.
Yeah, no, but that would be Chris that's going to handle that, right? Because that's his presentation.
Yes.
Not the auditor's. But as it relates to the auditor's presentation, I think we have concluded that. Okay, thank you, Shannon. And you're going to stick around for the...
I am.
And I don't know that we're going to be here much longer, so... So Chris, if you would like to just... Yeah, because I'm curious about the single audit. I had no idea what that was, and so I'm glad that you're going to talk about it.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, and sorry for the confusion on that. Yes, so just advancing on, okay, good, single audit is on the screen. Yes, what is a single audit? It pertains to federal monies that we receive. It's not just the Water Authority. Any organization that receives federal monies is subject.
Anybody getting federal money anymore?
We're hoping to get our 19.4 million.
I
Got the
have,
check?
In the mail.
I have to choose my words wisely in this area, but it does look like the Water Authority will be subject to a single audit this year. And it is both a financial audit and an audit of compliance with the federal grant to make sure that we're complying with the grant agreements and all of the requirements. The current threshold for this fiscal year is $750,000. This is some educational material. So if an organization has $750,000 in expenditures of federal monies or higher, they must do a single audit. They must have it, regardless, all organizations, cities, districts, etc. Now, the Water Authority staff, we prepare a schedule of expenditure of federal awards. This is a designed schedule that exists, and a format is determined, must be completed. The auditors review this and audit this actually, as well as other test work they do, hence that single audit and that separate fee for the work that they do, just to make sure that we are in compliance with the grant agreement. If we're not, it can jeopardize future grants, and that's why it's very important. And the auditors do a good amount of work on it. They report on internal controls and separate compliance testing specifically. Outside of a normal audit, they do deeper dive on that. There's a separate filing to federal agency. These are all required things. And usually the single audit is conducted at the same time as the annual audit. I'm just going to caveat that a little bit. But the Water Authority, the last time we had a single audit performed was in 2006. It has been a number of years. This we knew for us in this area. Mm-hmm. And why are we talking about this? Why are we going to be subject to a single audit this year? And that's because of the Carlsbad desalination plant intake and discharge facilities, the $19.4 million that Lisa Marie mentioned. That's a grant that we are due to receive. Possibly during this summer, we would receive the monies if all goes according to schedule. And so we just need to make sure that we've spent those monies appropriately, and the auditors will be checking on that and verifying that. And then we will be filing the results of that to the federal agency.
We've been talking about this $19.4 million for several years now, right?
It has.
At least 2? We've been counting on it for...
Received notice that we were going to get it last year. It probably was, I don't know how long it took to submit.
We've been requesting it for some time, and then we received notification that we won it, so to speak.
Because we kind of built it on our model and some of our budgets and stuff that we were going to get that.
Correct.
Right. Well, okay, so if we don't receive it by the time this is done, even though it's a promissory note, which, a lot of agency would tell you those letters of award aren't worth the paper they're written on right now, so does that still trigger the requirement, even though we haven't received the money essentially, or expended the money, or if we'd expended it and hoped that we were going to get it?
Yes,
on the come, shall we say?
Very good. That is the very good point right there is, will we receive the monies? Again, the grant agreement has been signed. It is still anticipated to come in. Again, there's been a change in administration in the federal government, and they're looking at, grants as one of the areas. So that is where we currently stand. We're due to receive the monies in the summertime, early summer.
Okay.
To clarify, the question I thought I heard was if we do not receive the monies, do we still need to do?
We still need to complete the
I
single
think we
audit.
need it completed to make sure we do get the money.
Or do we, exactly. The chicken and the egg, where's the liquor?
Thank you. It is a very good discussion item. Typically, we would look to actually have this audit work performed now because substantially all of that work has been completed. The monies have been spent, but we're going to put the brakes on it because we haven't received the money, so we're not going to look to incur that charge, that extra $4,000 to conduct a single audit until we're assured that we've received it. And then once we received it, then we will ask the auditors to perform that work. So most likely it will fall after the...
So we've already spent the money, we've done the work, we believe that all of the work that has been completed that is against the grant that we're hoping to get. So it seems to me that you'd want to do the audit to show the federal regulators that you actually spent it, because that seems to be at least what we're hearing from Washington, D.C. when I turn on the news, is the focus is that you're taking the grant money and using it for what it's supposed to be used for. So, like I said, the $4,000 may be a pretty nominal investment in terms of good faith,
Yes. Thank you for the comment. We are going to confer with our auditors on the best timing. They are quite familiar with this. They have numerous audit clients, and they probably have a different tell on this. So we're going to,
we'll see.
They'll be in another 2 weeks, and then we will confer with them on best timing.
Director Vespi?
I think my question got answered, but so the entirety of the 19.4 million has been spent? And this is just... And it's been completed, right? So this is just waiting on the reimbursement from the federal government. Got it.
Great. Okay.
Correct.
We're done with single audit?
Excuse me, Shannon, the audit partner, has Shannon, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify for the single audit, it is based on the expenditure of the funds, not the receipts of the funds from the federal government. So it is whenever the money is spent, that's what triggers the single audit. And as long as there is a grant agreement that has been signed. And then I will just clarify that the threshold for fiscal year 2025 actually increased to $1 million going forward.
Okay.
So.
Thank you, Shannon. All right. Well, I think our question got answered. So.
Okay, thank you. Next slide. Okay, so at the second audit committee meeting, which is timed for about mid-September, currently, we will come back and reconvene. We'll speak on any accounting policies, any significant changes, any issues affecting accounting or financial reporting or compliance matters, even the status of the single audit. Report back on any audit committee requests, and then give just an audit status update. That's typically what we cover in the second audit committee meeting. The auditors are not here for that meeting. It's typically the audit committee and staff giving that report.
Okay.
And then a couple of notable items that we have facing us, which Shannon alluded to, GASB 101 compensated absences. That's affecting every governmental agency, not just the Water Authority. And it is a comprehensive analysis that required us to perform. We've completed that. The auditors are going to take a look at the work we've done and review that, and then we'll get a green light on how we'll record that. It will be an additional liability that we're looking to record on the Water Authority. It's not a cash expense, if you will, but it is represent an additional liability. But we'll report on that more at the second meeting. The GASB 103, this is a significant one. This is actually applicable next fiscal year in which we have to do that work, but it is significant, especially for special districts that have not been reporting a budget to actual schedule. The Water Authority has been very proactive in our ACFR. We've been doing a budget to actual comparison for many, many years, so we've already tackled a lot of that, but there still is other work in the management discussion analysis area, as well as in the statistical area of just providing more information and making the information transparent to the readers. So that we are currently working on that. And then just quickly, dead storage capacity accounting. That's something unique for us. We're looking into that. We talked about it with the auditor last year, and we decided to look at it more this year. And that pertains to water that's in the reservoirs. And there's at the very bottom of the reservoirs, there's the lowest, the intake and outtake pipes, and there's water that is below that. And that water effectively cannot be sold. It's just, in effect, it's kind of holding up the good water, right? The water that we can sell. Not necessarily, I don't mean good water, but the water that we can sell. But we're going to be looking at that capacity to make sure that we're properly stating that water as an asset on our balance sheet.
And is that asset the same value as the asset that's above it?
Yes.
And the funny part about it is how much dead storage does the Water Authority have? They don't have any reservoirs.
We do have space in San Vicente, and we do utilize that space. The storage rates in Lake Hodges, we currently do not have any water.
Well, that's all dead storage.
I know, but who owns all that water? I mean, especially when we went into that agreement, there was water in that dead storage already. So was that this dead storage somebody's storage before we got into contract, or how does that work, Mr. Counsel?
I reserve the right to change my mind. The Hodges is an emergency storage project, so our water is, I believe, was the first tranche in Hodges. That's what allowed us to use the pump back station and generate the hydro. We don't have any water in Hodges now.
And then the same with San Vicente, there was dead storage in there.
So again,
previous to getting
I
in
don't
contracts.
know, I'm not as familiar with whose water's where in San V, but I think the same principle applies in that, the San V pumped hydro project relies on the Water Authority having that top tranche of water in order to sort of.
So, but is that how it's calculated, or is there calculated percentages?
It's the way it's calculated at Hodges.
Okay.
Like, we don't have any water.
That's the way it's calculated with Helix.
Like, we're fighting with the city over
Cal.
evaporation on water we don't
Okay.
have.
So whose dead storage is it? And
Or you apportioned a percentage of whatever the dead storage is based on what your allotment
an agreement
is?
somewhere, or
Yeah, that's the issue, yeah.
It is, Director Scalzi. Yeah, good question. In San Vicente, yes. For Lake Hodges as well, there was an agreement when we entered into them with the city of splitting of that dead storage with the city. So there was a sharing of that. We have some and the city has some, yes.
thank you. Let us process before you told us. We process all our questions, but you came up with
Anytime we talk about Hodges, it's never a good answer. Anyway.
Thank you. And then the last item is for relating to the desal plant. The excused supply shortfall units. This is something that we're tracking. This pertains to, again, the water we take from the desal plant. We're to take 48,000 acre feet. There are times when we don't receive that full amount. So if we don't receive that full amount, it goes in, it's either classified as an excused supply shortfall or an unexcused. And if it's an excused supply shortfall unit, it just represents an opportunity. We didn't take that water that we requested, but it's an opportunity for us to take that in the future and then pay for it in the future. But we've never disclosed anything on it. It's a tracking account. It goes up and down from year to year. We've been monitoring it, but we just want to confer with our auditors to make sure that we're reporting it correctly. We think it's just going to be a disclosure. We'll add another sentence into the water purchase agreement in the act for just speaking to that. But again, we'll learn more on that in the coming month.
Hey, question, Sheriff.
Go ahead.
On that,
Is your mic on? You're asking substantive questions here.
on that issue, is there a certain date that they have a true up? Because I know that there is some shortfalls and there's some makeup. And in the agreement, is there a certain time limit that they have to true up? Or say, okay, we have extra water to give you right now. We want to make sure we cover.
That's
those
what I
2
was going to
years
ask, the
before,
reconciliation of what we
2
use
years
and what
before
we
we're
don't,
short,
and
or
when we pay for it.
It's a great question. The water purchase agreement goes through 2045, so we have another 20 years in which to make up and take that water. So there's ample time to order and receive that water.
So there's no true up every 3 years or 5 years. It's just like they could just give it all to us in the last 20th year?
And Water Resources is a department that oversees this contract. They can speak to it much better than us, but really it comes down to us needing it. And so we would request it. It wouldn't be just sent to us, if you will, but we would request it, they would produce it, and then we would receive it.
Director
So
Vespi?
with the plant being off, right, for the period of time that we have
Idle.
idle, what happens, how does that get treated in the tracking account? Does that get treated as we're required to take that water in the future? Or does it get treated as an excused, I forget what you said, but an excused absence in that perspective?
I don't have the answer to that question other than to say that we have 20 more years in the water purchase agreement in which to order and receive that water. So the current day-to-day, that's a question that we'll get the answer back to the committee.
See, and it's these kinds of questions that prompted me to ask about the predictability or unpredictability test, because we got a lot of unpredictables, and this goes well beyond the scope of a financial audit, but these are very, very important questions, right? So perhaps we should have somebody from water supply on hand, water resources, or whatever the department name is, so that we can feel a little bit better about how these things are actually treated in this document.
Especially if some of these issues are public-private enterprises, right? I mean,
Right.
that private enterprise wants to sell water, so us having a shortfall, they're wanting to make it up. They're going to, there's part of the agreement saying, hey, if you're not taking it, you're going to pay for some of it anyways.
Yeah.
I mean,
Agreed.
they want to sell water. That's what they're in business for.
Okay. All right. Well,
And Chair,
Chris, can we?
yes, I was going to say at the second
I think
audit.
it's time to go to the calendar,
Yes.
where the fun begins.
I was just going to say at the second audit committee meeting, we can have Water Resources come and give a presentation on it and speak to it much better than myself.
That would be wonderful.
This is an accounting and financial reporting matter, so that's why we have to deal
Right.
with it, and that's why we're
Right.
covering it. So, okay, thank you. And then the last slide is just the fiscal year 25 audit work plan calendar. Again, it looks rather busy, but this is just a calendar of closing the books and starting the audit and wrapping up the audit that the staff follows. And again, the interim audit will start in 2 weeks, and the field work, the year-end field work, will begin in late August. We are hoping to have the audit concluded and receive the opinion by October 1st, and then on October 15th, we are going to be sending the draft ACFR to the audit committee as well as the full board so that you can conduct your review. We will then have our final third audit committee meeting on October 30th, and then that would conclude the business for the committee, and then the chair would report out to the full board at the November board meeting, and that is our audit calendar.
So we can sort of rely on these dates. Of course, you got some, spans here of time, but so I can put these in my calendar to sort of track when these will be. And
Yes,
Okay.
the staff has these down pat. They do a fantastic
Great.
job meeting them as well.
all right. Any questions regarding the calendar? Nope.
And all three meetings are on the audit committee calendar.
Yeah, June 21st,
Yeah.
July 17th, September 18th, and the 30th of October. Right?
September 18th is the next one, and then
Two more?
September 18th and then October 30th. Currently, those are scheduled, yes.
Are we going morning or afternoon for September and October?
I can look at what is the date?
It's September 18th and then October 30th. I just want to put them on my calendar too. Last year.
I mean, is this time
afternoons.
preferable?
Works for me.
It works for me.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock on the 18th.
9 o'clock on the 18th.
Okay.
And then what's the third?
October 30th. It should be 9 a.m.
It's good for me. I just apologize for being late today. It was a little slower in the rain driving,
That's all
so.
right. Get it?
Yes.
It's not on my calendar this week. It should be 9 o'clock.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
well, maybe you
October
can
30th.
set out, if we have to make adjustments or whatever, you can just send out an email to the committee, basically what the specific dates and times are.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, any other questions? Yes, Director Paul.
Yeah, I had one question that it actually hit me when I was reading this a few months ago. We have some mitigation bank real estate that we own, and on the books it's only valued at $6,000 an acre. but we've sold or utilized some of it for significantly more than that. And so I know what the right way to value that real estate
It's
is.
a timing thing, I think. We store it for that, and then if somebody needs it, of course, the price is up, and hey, we'll sell it if it's the right price.
Correct. The value can fluctuate, so we don't mark to market, if you will, on those mitigation bank credits. That is the cost that we paid for them, and yes, we've been fortunate to be able to sell them and realize a higher sales price.
And it's not in the county of San Diego at all. It's up north, as I believe, right? So it's some bank underground up in Northern California, store water there because we have it, and we've been selling it, and I don't think we've been buying any lately, but we've been selling it and when needed. When it's a spot where somebody needs water, we would sell it.
So it's real estate. You say it's water.
It's like an underground aquifer.
And
right?
there's
Is
two
some of it like
kinds.
environmental mitigation?
Yes, there's two kinds. There's mitigation credits, which represent, real estate, and then we actually have water in a water bank, which is up in Northern
Okay,
California
yeah, that's
as well,
different.
yes.
I'm not talking about the water bank. I was talking about the real estate.
Oh.
So normal accounting practices is to count it for the price that you purchased it for?
Because the value can fluctuate up and down. Certain of it is more valuable than others, but again, it's at what we paid for it, yes.
Okay, but the value's never going to go down to $6,000.
It's based on
Who needs it,
who we
when.
can sell it, where it's located, who the buyer is what the price we would receive.
Sure. Okay. I was just asking the question about what the value on the book should be.
All right. Okay. Anybody else? One last time. All right. Well, I think we're ready for adjourn. Adjourned. Thank you.